right, Scott, let's go. We're gonna dash down the river.
This is no lazy river ride, that's for sure.
No.
It has a lot of really interesting mechanics behind it, but what you see on the surface is, well, a roguelite action platformer.
That's fair.
Loose on the platformer. There is a lot of mystery in this game, but what was your first impression before we get into the mechanics of it?
So, you know, I'm always a sucker for art style, right? And then when it comes to pixel art styles, not normally my thing, but dude, I loved this art style. I really thought the pixel art was fantastic. Loot River is usually not my style of game either. That's the other catch to this. And I got hooked, dude. It is that roguelite feel, and I'm not a roguelite player at all. But here I am going run after run after run. You have one life. See how far you can push yourself. And if you die, you start all over from the beginning with, well, almost nothing. Dude, the biggest part for me is the platforms itself, right? So as you're going down the river, you then move these other platforms and they slide, but they use them as a puzzle too. Like, it's so well done. I absolutely adored it because you have to, it's almost like those slide puzzles, right? Where you have that flat surface and you move one up, and then you go around and move one down, and you just kind of shimmy around and around until you get to where you need to go. When you try and get there, and sometimes, like for me, I can see a lot of people trying to speed run this because they offer that right in the very first level. Okay, try and beat this level in under 2 minutes. Dude, I did it in under 2 minutes and I couldn't believe it. I'm like, yo, this is not my style, but I'm absolutely hooked. It was awesome.
You sent me your time for that run and I went, what?
Yeah.
How is that even possible? And in 2 tries, I was able to best it just slightly. But what that does give you is a rune, I believe. They may be called an artifact, but these artifacts you can add them to, I think you can have up to 5 active, and what they do is they're modifiers on the entire game. Or sometimes just a little section of the game. For example, there's one where you can add a boss fight into the sunken village, the very first area.
No!
That boss fight, well, as daunting as that is, because the combat is really hard, if you can crush this boss, it will allow you to skip to another area that would otherwise take you several sections to get through to. So it opens up little shortcuts that way. You're going to be going through a lot of the time not getting the weapons you want. That's going to be quite a short run. Or you get to something like me where you're able to hit really heavy, you get strong strength rings that you wear, make your character better, and then you grab an axe and that does a huge amount of damage. That's how I pushed all the way through a bunch of boss fights, got way to this kind of royal looking area, but
and then died.
Does that sting when you die? Yep, you will.
It's punishing, right? But that's the nature of the game. So just kind of keep in mind that that's what you're getting into when you move into it. But the biggest thing for me, dude, is every time I ran into a merchant, I'm like, okay, I used all my health potions. Just give me a health potion. Not one.
No.
Right? Like nothing at all. Man, in our in-game currency, I'm like, sometimes I was this close from actually acquiring a new ring or upgrading something else, and I was just where's the health potion, man? Like, this is, you have one life to push your way through this game, and here I am, I'm just suffering because I make it so far and then I'm out of health potions to kind of keep going, and then I get into a boss fight and then I get wrecked. I was like, all right, start again, and here we go. It was funny because my wife looks at me and she goes, oh, this is not your kind of game. I went, nope, but let's go. And away I went, right? And I never really do that. I played Elden Ring. I was like, I'm out of here. But dude, the Parry Mechanic.
You can feel the temperature rising in the room as you get angry.
Yeah, absolutely. The Parry Mechanic for me, I'm still kind of trying to figure out. Like, at moments I feel like I nail it, and other moments I feel like I'm slightly off. So there's a couple little things that
I think it depends on the weapon.
Yeah, absolutely. I never really used the spear at all. I always used the sword. You were using the axe. So yeah, there's a lot of variations to go off of and different modifiers and stuff. Dude, I had a blast. I love this game, and it's not even my style.
There's not a whole lot of help you get in this game. In fact, when it comes down to getting health, you don't get much of that either. There's one really interesting mechanic that I like where you kind of make a gamble with one of the characters in your hub world, we'll call it. You can give him potions to hold on to, and he'll double the potions if you see him again. I say if you see him again, because That's the biggest part, but I think that's why you speedrun some of the earlier sections, just to kind of double up on your potions in a relatively safe way. But the long game is really only going to help you if you're able to push through and meet some of these merchants that you say. There's an armorer, and once you meet them, they return to your city. You're now able to kind of open up more possibilities as it goes on and on. But the game is so punishing between the combat, the boss fights, and even just maneuvering around the map sometimes, getting the use of the 2 thumbsticks simultaneously. It's something that you'll get better at as it goes on, but this one hurt a little bit. Now, when it comes to giving this one a score, it's a little complicated because I really appreciate the mechanics of the game, although it's extremely difficult. And I want to get invested in this character, in this world, but there really is not much of a story told to you beyond just some cryptic lines here and there. If I'm going to put a score on this one, I think it sits at about a 7.5. It's not very accessible, but if you get in there, you're going to like what you find.
No, absolutely. I think I agree with that, Scott. I'm right there with you with a 7.5 as well. Everything there it works. Everything, it feels great. The mechanics is great. Everything you want there for a roguelite. Just it's a little light on the story and why you're doing all this stuff. I think that's the biggest thing for me.
Loot River is a roguelite action game with unique platforming. It has great mechanics, but it's very difficult and unfortunately light on the story elements.